feel like any kind of thing. And he told me that like that. He was like, if I was going to give you any advice and you felt like you were fucking, it's like the first thing you should do. And he explained it well enough that I knew, even as a young man, like, you're playing with a person's life, punching them in the fucking Adam's apple or something. You know what I mean? You could kill them
with
like
one of those
full.
things.
Like he was like, well, with that, even just with your fist, if you hit them right,
you would be amazed. You'd be amazed at how much damage people could take. Actually, I'd rather get punched in the Adam's apple than I would get kicked in the side of my head, like around here, because this is what shuts you off. It seems like, again, many things can shut you off, just with the caveat. Like, you can get shut off with a kick, even almost like to the top of your chest. It snaps your head back so much you get shut off. But there's something about neck kicks. Like, boom, dudes just go. They just crumple.
They do.
And sometimes they crumple from chin shots. But I think it's the same thing. I think what the chin shot is doing is somehow or another pinching the garden hose that is the spine and shutting the system off.
It's also, if I'm not mistaken, your brain sits in that little bit of fluid, and if your skull moves fast enough, the brain doesn't move as fast, and it touches if the brain touches the skull, that's lights out.
That absolutely too. Also, I think the same principle, like, rear naked chokes and head kick knockouts are not the same, in that a rear naked choke is way safer. Like, if you get choked unconscious, you're going to be fine. If you get head kicked unconscious, ooh, you got to take some time off. Like, you just got fucked up. But the mechanism behind them is kind of similar in that it's cutting off the circuitry. Not like specifically, because the choke is like stopping the blood, but the head kick is just jolting. Like, it's like rebooting your computer.
The head kick, I would imagine, I've never experienced it, nor can I throw one that high. But I would imagine why it might be worse is because, like, all right, you get punched, and it's the motion of the head almost, and the brain not moving, that is causing the knockout. If you get kicked like this, it's a shin, it's everything. Your head doesn't even get to move, so the brain is actually just getting slammed against the other side of the fucking skull.
I've made this point really recently, and even yesterday. I think people should have no gloves on when they fight. I think fighting with gloves is like, makes it easier to punch people, which is more unrealistic. And getting kicked in the head is way worse than getting punched in the head.
It's
and we
the
allow
same
that.
argument for Olympic headgear. That's why it's going away. They think it causes more problems than it's actually worth at this point.
I also think it's unrealistic in terms of, like, the limitations of your body. Like, there's limitations of your body with punching people, and that's that your wrists bend. Like, anybody's ever punched someone or something.
Would you condone tape? Or just raw?
No, raw.
Then I hear you.
Raw all around.
Because taped is really what the problem is. When you tape this wrist like so well that I can't really fuck it up, I'm gonna throw it with abandon.
Well, also it's
or
like
with no abandon.
Right? If you can tape. Here's what I think.
With no abandon.
I don't think there's anything wrong with two people agreeing with like a rule set. Like, they agree, okay, we're gonna wear gloves and we're gonna wear gi pants, like things along those lines. But, like, if you could wear gloves for a striker are the equivalent of gi pants for a really good jiu-jitsu guard player. Like, if a guy like Eddie Bravo is allowed to wear gi pants and he gets you wrapped up, if you're like some regular dude, you're going to sleep. You're going to get fucked up. You know, unless you're like some high, even like Hoyler Gracie fucks up when he's wearing the gi pants, because he knows that those gi pants provide insane amounts of friction and traction and can clamp a hold of you, and he can do some shit to you that you're just going to be super uncomfortable with. In a way, that's as much of an advantage for him to be able to wear the gi pants as it would be for a striker to wear the gloves. But only a striker gets to wear the gloves. Like, the grapplers have to wear shorts. Like, it's really kind of interesting, because having your knuckles taped up and having your knuckles padded up is a real advantage for someone who knows how to hit things, because you could be like much more relaxed and liberal with your use of punches. You don't have to worry about hitting bones. But you would never allow that the other way. Like, giving the option of a striker to wear hand pads and then a grappler to wear gi pants. It's like we have a very accepted idea of what's civilized. One of the things is you cover your knuckles. It's kind of stupid, because you don't have to cover your elbows. Like, people are smashing and slashing people up with their elbows. My case against it is that it's not logical. It's just historical. We're just going by a tradition, and it's not a logical tradition.
Right, still Queens of Marksbury kind of.
It is kind of, but it's because these are limitations that we inherited from a single discipline sport.
It's also
like boxing.
If you think back, not that long ago, a 75-round fight wasn't unheard of.
Yeah. They didn't have no CTE. There was no Will Smith movie. There was no one knew what the fuck was going on. There was no Real Sports with Brian Gumbel. Nobody had any idea that getting the hit in the head for that long would be that bad for you.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of fascinating when you think about it. But I really do think that the gloves, I think we're doing a huge disservice to the art of fighting. Because I think we have unrealistic expectations based on the idea that you could just punch someone with padded knuckles. I think if we didn't have padded knuckles, we'd be much more clever in how we use our hands, because you might break your hand at any shot, and it would be easier to choke people, so jiu-jitsu would be more effective. Two of those things are way better for the athletes and way better for the honest interpretation of what fighting is. Right. The problem is no one's going to agree to that, because people are going to, from home, they're going to look at it and go, oh, this is barbaric, this is horrible, they don't even have gloves on, they're bare knuckle.
Or the first time a guy catches a tooth in his fist and his shit splits open, they're going to be, oh!
You catch it in your elbow. What's the difference between your fist and your chin? Or
you're preaching to the choir with me, but...
What's the difference between you catching one in your knuckle or catching one on the end of your foot when you kick someone's face sideways? You can wheel kick them in the head with your heel, but you can't punch them with bare knuckles. It's stupid. It's a dumb rule.
It's the whole 6 to 12 thing.
That's stupid too.
It doesn't work.
But I'll leave that and take no gloves any day. I really think there should be no gloves. I think even for strikers, I think, yeah, man, you pad some dudes up. You fucking give a dude like Tyrone
What about
Spong
gloves, just like protecting your
Dwayne
knuckles
Ludwig.
and skin, but no taping? What if that? Would you?
Why protect your knuckles and skin? Why? What are we looking at? We're looking. Why? How come you don't do that with elbows? How come you don't do that with knees?
Devil's advocate on that.
Okay.
We're looking at exchange of bodily fluids. If I punch you in the teeth, you know what I mean?
Oh, silly! You're getting that from everything. You're getting that from arms when you choke people. People get bitten when they've been choked. When you choke like you watch Damian Maia versus Rick Story, and he's going like right over his face, and you don't think he's getting a little bit of bite? You get bites in your arms. They're not even trying to bite you. They're trying to breathe, and you're crushing your arm.
Rarely do you see his arm come away bleeding or something. I'm saying there's the rare occasion of but far less rare would be if there was no gloves and you're punching a guy in the mouth. Okay, you're gonna catch them teeth. There's gonna be a lot more cutting of the hands too. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
It's a good devil's advocate. Here's a solution: double mouth guard. You enforce the rule of a double mouth guard, which means that there's a space in the middle.
Outer version too, like an old school, like the football shit.
No. It goes lower teeth and upper teeth, and then you have a space in the middle. Bernard Hopkins always used to fight with one of those, and it covers your lower teeth and your upper teeth, and there's a space in the middle, and you breathe through that, and you breathe through your nose, and you get used to doing that. And the lower mouth guard, the problem with having only an upper mouth guard is most people do that, but only an upper mouth guard will work for the most part. But there is, if you're bare knuckle, there's a real argument for using an upper and a lower, because you're dealing with a different situation.
Underbites, Joe.
Well, even then, you would just have it fitted to your face.
I'm just devil advocate.
I understand what you're saying. But what I'm saying is that
shout
would
out
be
to
the
Bernard, though. Bernard Hopkins, my favorite fighter of all time, personally. I know, whatever. My favorite. He's my favorite. You want to know why? I'll tell you why he's my favorite. I'll tell you why he's my favorite. First of all, I saw his last fight. I was there in the forum, and it was a bummer to me. And you're better than that, and your fucking career will be forever. Because here's when I knew Bernard Hopkins was the fucking man. All right. He was, be real. I've always been surrounded by Latin guys. All right. That's just all the dudes I know are Mexican, Cuban, these kind of guys. You know, Be Real is one of my best friends on earth. Sick Jacket. That's another, these are all Latin dudes. These are all Spanish guys, Mexicans and whatnot. So anytime a fight like that would come up, they're all taking the Felix Trinidad or the whoever it was.
Of course.
When he was fighting Felix Trinidad, we were all watching at Be Real's house when this motherfucker took the Puerto Rican flag. He was in Puerto Rico talking shit on Felix Trinidad. At the time, the fucking almighty fucking son of all Puerto Rico. Yeah. Took the Puerto Rican flag, which if you know about Puerto Rican guys, and I know plenty of Puerto Rican guys, you put that flag on anything, they got so much pride. They'll buy it, they'll wear it. The flag is everything.
They get crazy.
He took this flag in Puerto Rico, threw it on the ground, and stepped on it.
Jesus.
Why? Go back. I'm sure it's on YouTube. Where he steps on the Puerto Rican flag in Puerto Rico, and I literally told my friends, if he gets off that island, nobody on earth's beating his ass. I was like, because they should be trying to fucking kill him right now. If I know anything about Puerto Rican people, you know what I mean. And when he got back, when the fight came that day, I bet everybody in Be Real used to throw like barbecues every fight. Like that's where we'd be. That was our routine. We go there, and then with always anytime it was like a black guy versus like any Spanish guy, it could be any kind of Spanish guy. I would always like bet against the house, and more times than not, I won. But like, yo, he stomps on the goddamn flag and got out of that island.
Well, he threw it. He took it away from Felix and threw it on the ground. And then he beat his ass.
Yeah.
I feel like he KO'd him in the 9th round. Am I correct?
I feel like he KO'd him right there.
Well, he definitely landed a
That's where he
psychological blow.
KO'd him right there. Because it's like, if you didn't get stabbed before you got off the island of Puerto Rico, that's a win.
He put a lot of pressure on himself, though.
That's that's why I always knew I was like, the executioner's my man. I'm just for the ball factor of that.
That's a big ball factor.
I mean, if you would have pulled that in New York, I would have said you're fucking crazy. In Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Jesus, man, that took huge nuts. That took the dude who was in jail for most of his life and was living off commissary donations.
It was a brilliant performance, too, in that fight.
He kicked ass. Yo, Bernard, until,
Dude,
the last...
He beat the shit out of Felix
What,
Trinidad
like 5, 6 fights of his, he beat the shit out of everybody.
Well, you got to realize he's like 51, which is incredible. In this fight, I want to say he was 34 or 35.
Yeah, he was old when he got it going because he had spent so much time in jail.
Oh, my God, what a beautiful counterpunch.
But you know what they said was always about him is he lived like a monk.
Yep.
He was always in training. He never fucking partied, never any smoked, never
processed
drugged.
foods. That's the big thing. He was saying he eats very healthy and clean.
Raw. He was one of the early advocates of the raw diet kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. He also was a brilliant boxer.
But I just loved the executioner came out with the mask.
Dude, you got to realize this guy got past... He got past 12 rounds with Sergey Kovalev without getting knocked out. And he got rocked and dinged several times in that fight. He fought Kovalev in his prime. Kovalev, who, in my opinion, is top 3 or 4 pound for pound in the world. I mean, it's arguable who's number 1 right now.
No,
it's like
that
a lot
war
of people
fight.
think it's Lomachenko.
He won that war fight, dude. He won that first war fight.
He very well could have.
I feel like he did.
I thought he did.
Humble opinion, I thought he won.
In my humble opinion, I agree with you. I would have to like go over it with a real legitimate boxing judge, and like I mean, I know what I think about boxing, but I don't know.
Last Terrence Crawford fight where he put it on that Cuban or whatever dude?
Diaz, yeah.
Just put the fucking
Terrence
beating on that guy.
He's in the argument for number 1 pound for pound in the world. I feel like it's
Lomachenko. Yeah, because Chocolatito got beat, right?
Controversial fight, but close enough for him to lose a decision.
I didn't get to see the fight, but I heard it was
controversial. Some people disagreed with it, but what I feel is that like Terrence Crawford and Lomachenko are the guys who put it on people to the point where they just run away from it.
They just set the fight, right?
They run away from it.
No, but they just set the big fight, the fucking Triple G and motherfucking Canelo fight.
Yeah.
What you think? What you think?
It's a very important fight. It's a very important fight because, like, you look at how good Canelo looked against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yo,
you gotta wonder,
come on, let's be real. Respect to Pops. Respect to Pops all the way.
I think that kid got stung.